All right. Hey, everyone. Sorry, I am a couple of minutes late. We were trying to get as many orders out as possible. Yay! And we had we had some 60s and 70s R&B going in the shop today. So if you ordered and your order shipped today, had some soul to it. Yeah. All right. So people are starting to join. I'm Morgan, owner of Ink Goddess Creations. Today's Facebook Live is all about witchy self-care. And y'all, when I sat down and I started, really kind of getting everything out of my head, I have so much information. So I really hope that some of it is new to you. If it is new to you, if it's something that you have not heard before, as I'm kind of going through it, pop me up like a heart or like a thumbs up or something, so I know that that's stuff that you all have never heard before, because then it inspires me to do some other things and maybe explore those topics more. Randy says hello. Hi, Randy. I'm glad you could make it too. I'm going to jump in because I want these to only be about, somewhere between 30 minutes to an hour. And I have so much information, like so much. And I'm so excited to share with you all. Hey, Andrea. All right. So what is witchy self-care? And the information that I'm going over today is going to be great for beginning witches, as well as those that have been practicing forever. I hope that, I've got some new information for you all, or new things you can add to your existing witchy self-care routine. So there should be something for everyone. So self-care, of course, is taking care of your body and your mind. So witchy self-care is going to be taking care of your soul. It's going to be the things that make you come alive spiritually. It's going to be your connection to your divine powers and your higher self. So that's what witchy self-care is, and that's what I'm going to be going over today. So you can weave. Hi, Christine. And I'm sorry if y'all hear stuff. We still have the postman supposed to be coming to pick up orders, and my husband's floating around. So you can weave witchy self-care into your existing self-care routine. And that's what the bulk of this Facebook Live today is going to be. But you can also practice witchy self-care separately. So separately, like things that are done just for witchy self-care are going to be like your moon rituals, your full moon, your new moon rituals, your sabbats. So if you do a whole ritual or something to honor a sabbat, any type of spells or magical workings that you do. Meditation can be considered its own witchy self-care practice. And divination, which I also include journaling and free writing in that. And we'll go into that a little bit more, because divination, some of these can be added into your regular witchy routine or your regular self-care routine and turn it into a witchy self-care routine. So that's really all I'm going to talk about as far as separate big things for witchy self-care. Those are things you can do by themselves that in themselves are going to be a way that you can nurture your spirituality. So that's the moon rituals, the sabbat, spells, meditation, and divination. So the bulk of when I was putting together everything for this Facebook Live, the bulk of what I'm doing is how you can weave witchy things into your regular self-care routine. Hey, Brandon. And that way, because I know we are all busy witches, and especially right now, there's a lot of, some of you never worked from home before, and now you're working from home. Some of you, your kids are now home with you, and they've never been home with you before. They've always been at school. So we're all busy witches. And even those of you who are essential and you're still heading to work, there's probably more stress, more stuff going on for you. So these are going to be really easy things that you can take and kind of insert into your regular routine. So the first thing, now this is, hey, Jessica. The first thing is your shower routine. So I'm a morning shower. So if you're an evening shower person, you can still kind of apply things, just apply them to maybe setting your intentions for the next day. But a shower, which is a regular self-care routine, is definitely something you can add a lot of witchy stuff into. And then it becomes part of your witchy self-care routine. So the first thing is water has to do with emotions. So if you are ever feeling stressed out, drained, a lot of negative like energy, the water can actually, you can visualize those bad emotions. And, or if you're kind of like on an emotional roller coaster, you can visualize the water helping to balance those emotions and take your negativity, cleanse that off of you down the drain, and you can picture it going into Mother Earth. So that's the first thing that a shower is, as long as you add that visualization of the balance of emotions or of your negative energy, everything kind of being cleansed off of you. Easy way to turn a regular shower into witchy self-care. And this actually applies to if you're ever in a bad mood. I promise you, if you're ever in a bad mood, take a shower. And somehow, as soon as you get out of that shower, you feel calm, collected, centered. Water just has that amazing way of calming you and balancing your emotions and really, cleansing away the negative energy. So if you are a morning shower person as well, while you're in the shower and you're in the water, you can set your intentions for the day. I do that every morning. And then if you happen to have our eclectic witch deck, the original one, it has my morning elemental affirmation in it. So I found out that we have one of those like pebble showers. It came with the house. We didn't install one, but the floor is made out of pebbles. And I realized that those were earth. And so with the heat of the shower being fire, and then of course the air and then the water coming out, I realized I had all of the elements there every morning in my shower. And so I started about 2 years ago. I developed an elemental affirmation every morning, and I included it as a card in our original eclectic witch deck. So that is something I go over every morning. I call in the elements and I focus on each element. So I focus on the feeling of earth under my feet. And I breathe in, and that's the air in my lungs. And I feel the warmth of the shower, and that's fire. And then the water, I really concentrate on how it's hitting me, and I call in water. And then ask for, balance as I move throughout my day, and for everything to work together in harmony. So that's a really easy way while you're setting your intentions in the shower, and while you have everything. And if you don't have something related to earth in there, you can always bring a water tolerant gemstone into the shower with you. I just want to make sure my comments are okay. Good. We're good on comments. So you can always bring a gemstone, because any gemstone is going to resonate with earth because it's from the earth, and then it'll resonate with other elements as well. But you can bring any kind of water tolerant gemstone into the shower with you, and then just touch it, and kind of be like, that's my earth connection, and go from there. So that's kind of like when I take showers in the morning, I'm always visualizing, getting cleansed, balancing my emotions. I do my affirmation. I set my intentions for the day. And then I put my protective shield up, because I figure I'm not going to get any more cleansed than I am right now. So once I cleanse, I put that protective shield up. For me, and I've talked about this, I think, for like 2 weeks now. For me, it's always a golden light. That's what my mom taught me, was to do a golden, kind of like a bubble, visualize that. But you can do whatever color you feel right. You can do different colors to match. If you're not feeling very well, you can do a blue light kind of for healing. If you're going for a job interview or something, you can always do like a green, for prosperity, heart opening. Purple if you want the divine connection. White is really good for just general protection. So these are, oh, my mom said, hello, beautiful. Hi, Mom. So yeah, you can do any kind of color to kind of put off that energy for the day as well. But you want to visualize, you know, kind of like your aura going that color or like a bubble. So you want to put that protective shield up. Other things, other ways to turn your regular shower into witchy shower. You can always put cleansing herbs and a little bit of salt into a muslin bag. And then, you know, as you're using that, wet it really well. And as you're using that, it'll help cleanse any negative energy. So I've done it. And if you can put them in a bath too, if you have a bath. I always do shower stuff because I don't have a bathtub. So that's when I realized like all these people were taking these amazingly relaxing, cleansing baths with herbs. And I'm like, I can't do that. I have a shower. So I threw everything into a muslin bag and you kind of use it as like a sponge or a loofah. It exfoliates, especially you got that little bit of salt in there. It's like a salt scrub. But the cleansing herbs will also, you know, take away negative energy, kind of scrub you from anything, any kind of funk, you know, emotional, spiritual funk you're in. Sage, lavender, rosemary, and peppermint work really well for that. And you can change the herbs up as well, depending on, you know, if you need more healing energy, you can add some eucalyptus. If you need more protection energy, you know, rosemary is going to do that. The salt's going to do that. But you can add, if you have like white willow, that's really good for healing and protection. So there's a bunch of different herbs you can add, you know, to the bag because you're really just kind of scrubbing off or washing off that negative energy. So then, again, this is more if you're having a morning shower. Well, not the lotion. The lotion you can do if you take nighttime showers too. But when you get out, if you put lotion or body oil on, you can actually draw, you know, protective symbols into your lotion. Visualize that protective symbol really kind of protecting everything. And then, you know, rub it in. And as you rub that lotion in and it disappears and the symbol disappears, you visualize that symbol of protection being absorbed by you. So that's a really great way to do that. So if you have any kind of personal power sigils that you've created, or, you know, a pentagram, pinnacle, you know, triple moon, things like that. Yeah. Okay. So if you wear makeup too, you can always do, use color therapy as far as for magical intentions, you know, when you're applying your makeup. So I kind of mentioned a little bit before, but green would be for prosperity, pink for love, blue for healing, purple for divine connection. So if you're doing any kind of, you know, if you're going forward and doing anything that day and you want that energy, you can always reflect your makeup to reflect that energy. And then I have heard you can kind of enchant your makeup, especially, I mean, you could do like glamour spells, things like that, if you're fine with that. But I would think more of like, if maybe you're having an off day and you're not feeling your best, kind of enchant, you know, your makeup to really put forward your best face, you know, but you want it to be to where it helps you emotionally pick yourself up, like as you're applying your makeup. So those are ways, that's a way that you can enchant your makeup. My mom said the Dirty Witch soap has been so great for me. I'm gonna see, I think we're out of stock actually, and my soap maker stopped making soap. So I'm gonna beg her, she switched over to liquid soap, and I'm gonna beg her to try and make me some more Dirty Witch soap. And Bridget asked, what is a Dirty Witch soap? It is a soap that we had custom made for Ink Goddess Creations. But like I said, my soap person switched over to liquid soap. So I'm going to have to beg her to make my bar soap again. Anything you have that's good for acne, The only thing that I used to do for my sister, so there's 8 years between my sister and I. So when I was married and out of the house, my sister was going through puberty. So I did witch hazel and mixed it with tea tree oil and I think that's the Postman. I think it was like a 2-ounce bottle of witch hazel, and then maybe 5 to 10 drops of tea tree oil, 5 to 10 drops of peppermint oil, and use it on a cotton ball, and that really cleans up. And my sister didn't have any acne throughout high school. She was real lucky. Okay, so Amber says, I use tea tree oil, but it only works so well. Try the witch hazel combination with the tea tree oil and then the peppermint. I've even added, when my son came, when he started hitting puberty, I added a little bit of lavender to it too, because that can really help. I mean, it works for, he worked for him while he used it, but he's a boy, so he stopped using it, Brandon says, what about Dirty Witch liquid soap? I would have to see if she could do that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You're welcome. Okay. Yay. See, I like when questions come in and I have answers for questions. That's great. So yeah, that is kind of like my morning routine, or things you can add to a shower to turn it more into like a witchy shower, or so you can practice self-care there. Few more. This is so much fun for me, y'all. I love it. Okay, so the second way that you can weave witchy self-care into your regular self-care would be through kitchen witchery. So if you are already cooking and you already have to make your meals, you can definitely just take that extra added step and infuse what you're cooking with energy. And that's kitchen witchery. I mean, it really is that simple. So with kitchen witchery, that in itself is a whole subject. So that is a subject for another day. But to get into, if you are just kind of like, what is kitchen witchery, or how can I practice it easily? Again, back to that busy witch stuff, because I know we're all busy witches. The first thing is, when you just want to have your intentions and infuse them while you're doing stuff. So while you're stirring, you're thinking about the energy that you want the people that eat the food to have when they eat it. So you definitely want to stir clockwise. That's one thing. You want to stir clockwise if you're wanting to add energy. Now, if, let's say, everyone in your house has been at each other's throats and you are like, I am done with this. I want to remove this negative energy. And so you add some things, you add some herbs or some seasonings for cleansing, and you want to go counterclockwise, because then with the intention that you're removing that negative energy. So once you've done that, then you can add happiness things back to it, to try happiness or calming things, and you stir that in clockwise. So that would be the difference between clockwise and counterclockwise when you're doing kitchen witchery. Okay. So I'm just catching up with y'all's comments. So that's the easiest thing. And then as far as herbs, things like that, you want to, the easiest things that you can incorporate are definitely salt, and that would add a cleansing or protection energy. So as you're salting your food, envision cleansing and protection. Pepper is for protection. Garlic is for healing and protection against vampires. Cinnamon is going to add motivation, energy, love, and prosperity. Rosemary is good for healing and cleansing, and basil is good for money. So those are just some common herbs and spices that are used in the kitchen. And then so like I said, stir clockwise if you're adding that energy, stir counterclockwise if you want to do like a cleansing or kind of get rid of that energy when the people eat it. You want to like get rid of it. So you can actually do it for, if you're making like if someone's sick, you can actually stir some of the healing herbs in counterclockwise with the intention that you're removing the sickness from them, and then add some other herbs in there and stir them in clockwise, that you're adding healing energy, if that makes sense. So just be mindful of, which way you're stirring. So because that is, like I said, its own subject entirely, that's really all I was going to do as far as kitchen witchery when it came to this witchy self-care. And that was just ways of, if you already are cooking and you're already taking care of yourself and nourishing your body with healthy food, which is just regular self-care, then you can make it witchy by, adding intentions or, with a few different herbs or seasonings. So the third way, talking up a storm, y'all, I swear. And I'm horrible with my water intake. So the third thing you can do to just kind of weave your self-care into your regular routine is adding crystals, because witches love crystals. We do. So different ideas for adding your crystals into your regular routine, your regular self-care routine. Amethyst is great for calming, so you can add that into whatever your night ritual is, or add it to your bedside table. Citrine is going to help motivate. So motivate and energize. So you can add citrine into your morning ritual. And that's where I have to flip a page, because I filled a whole page up with notes, y'all. I was excited about this one today. Your black tourmaline and your black stones are going to be good for protection. And rose quartz is a really common one that you can use for love and heart opening. So with the last two, jewelry, of course, is the easiest way. So if you wear jewelry normally, if you start wearing gemstone jewelry or switch it over to gemstone jewelry, it's a really easy way to incorporate some crystal magic into what you're already doing to take care of yourself, to build that self-esteem, to beautify. Just turn it into, get some jewelry. Plus it makes fun sounds. These are my quartz points earrings. I generally wear them every day because they match with everything, but it's good for amplifying energy, positive energy, and cleansing too. And then I've got my, talked about it maybe last week or the week before, about my morganite. That's my power stone. And then, I've got my, what is that? Snowflake obsidian and onyx for my grounding and protection, to really kind of keep my anxiety at bay right now with everything going on in the world. Okay. I'm catching up on y'all's things. So thanks for mentioning holding a crystal last week, like a worry stone. Yeah, oh yeah, they were talking about crystals, worry stones. Or, having those gemstones in your pocket too. So you can always, make sure you've got that energy with you throughout the day. And of course, crystal magic and using crystals for things is a whole subject in itself as well. So I just was kind of touching today on how these different aspects can be used for witchy self-care. Any crystal, so Adriana says, any crystal to help with weight loss. The only one I know of is apatite. And it's because and that's apatite, like APATITE, but because of what it's called, it actually helps with curbing your appetite, APPETIT. That's the only one I know of that is good for weight loss. And that was like a thing, I don't know, that's been in the back of my head for like 10 years or something. That's one of those things that for like 10 years, it's just sat there. Randy says, I've been using Dreamland Mist at bedtime. I'm about to get to that too. Mom says Moonstone for weight loss. Gina says, hey, sweetie. Hi, Gina. Gina's known me. Gina's one of my British friends from when I lived in England. So she's known me for like, oh, my kid's 18 now. So like 18 years, maybe 16 years. That's crazy. Amber says, I want to get hair jewelry that has crystals. I've seen those too, especially like chopsticks. I'm a claw person myself. But yeah. Okay. So if you're just joining, or if you watch on replay, I'm supposed to say this at the beginning, make sure you type replay so I know you're watching replay. But we're going over today more things you can incorporate into your regular routine to make it a witchy self-care routine. And so we've hit up your morning shower or a shower routine, things you can do that with that. And then we've hit up kitchen witchery, touched on it, and then crystals. So the fourth thing is cleaning house. And I am adding this to the Witchy Self-Care Facebook Live today, because it has actually been scientifically proven that if your environment around you can affect your mood, it can affect your mood and your health. So if your house is dirty or dingy, your energy will be low. And they've actually, done a lot of studies on that psychologically. So I feel that house cleaning and house cleansing should be part of any type of self-care routine. Because if your energy is low, then changing your environment, cleaning your environment, or even decorating your environment can really cause a change in your emotional and mental state. So that's why I'm adding it in here. So magical practices that you can infuse into cleaning. The first thing is scrubbing counterclockwise if you want to remove negative energy as you clean. So where wax off is going to help you clean an area, but also cleanse an area. And I'm going to definitely distinguish between the two. So for me, cleaning an area is, using your cleaners, taking something from dirty to clean, but cleansing it. When I say cleanse, I refer to the energy associated with it or the energy attached to it. So while you're cleaning, you can scrub counterclockwise, and that will cleanse the negative energy from that area as well. Another thing that you can do is essential oils. So we have the steam mops is what I use to mop, and they have the little pad on them. And then they have, usually, at least ours did, it came with a little pocket for like a scent pad. And I don't go buy the scent pads at the store. I just kind of make my own with essential oils. You can do the same with mop water. So if you add essential oils to your mop water or to like your steam mop pad, that's going to also infuse magic and energy into your cleaning, your mopping. So generally, for protection, if you want to do that, black pepper is like, I love black pepper essential oil. I don't know what it is about it, because I'm not a huge pepper person, like kitchen witchery. I don't know what it is. I'm not a big pepper person when it comes to cooking, but black pepper, I'll put in anything. I'll put in any kind of oil blend, I love black pepper essential oil. So I use that for protection, as well as sage and rosemary are some really common ones. Healing, eucalyptus, rosemary, and thyme. So you can add a few drops of any one of those. Cleansing, lemon and sage. Happiness, if that's the energy that you want to add to your house. Orange, rose, and jasmine are really good for that. And then calming, if you want everyone to chill out. Lavender and chamomile, of course, are the easiest. And then peppermint is also happiness and healing. So just a few drops added, either to your mop water or onto your scent pad if you have a steam mop. Really great way to infuse those properties, those magical properties, into your cleaning. Brandon says clutter is extremely draining and contributes to anxiety. Small changes really provide relief. I definitely agree. Whitney says cleaning this weekend. Clean and cleanse house. Thank you for the tips. You're welcome. Yeah, Amber says it takes more energy to ignore the clutter than it does to just clean it, basically. Yeah. Adriana says, I usually boil sage and rosemary. That is another thing. You can boil the herbs, or if you have like a little mini crock pot, put those in there and put it on low and just let them simmer in your house. And then the herbs will carry through and add, whatever energy, depending on the herbs that you've used. That's a great tip. Thank you for bringing that up, because I didn't have that in my notes, but it is something that I do. Mom says peppermint also keeps away spiders. I didn't know that. The only thing I know is lemongrass repels snakes. And then we had a snake in our house one time, and when we finally, it was a baby. I mean, he wasn't but like this big, and it was a good snake or whatever. So my husband put him back in the backyard. But we had lemongrass at like all of our doors and everything for probably a year, because I don't like snakes. But I did not know. And I know, peppermint's good for ants too. I think peppermint spray to keep ants away. I think that's a little cottage witchery thing too. Amber says, I never realized how much oils can be used in everything, everyday life. Yeah, I mentioned last week I diffuse them on a regular basis. I always have lemon, orange, rosemary, maybe some eucalyptus, sage for protection and cleansing. I mean, I have those kind of diffusing all the time, and especially in my living room, because that's where we all come together as a family. Yep. All right, so you're cleaning your house. You're doing counterclockwise to scrub away negativity, adding essential oils. After you clean, then you cleanse. So you can go through with your sage wand, your Palo Santo, cedar, anything, and kind of burn, and cleanse your house with the smoke. And then if you want to kind of go one step further, you can dot your windows and doors with protection or like a house blessing oil. And that's going to help with everything. Then can you burn eucalyptus? Yeah, I think you can. Or you can definitely simmer it too if you do like a little, crock pot with water, or, on your stove. I think so. So you're cleansing, you're protecting, dotting your windows and doors, with either protection or house blessing oil. Then you can set your crystal grid. And I talked about this. And if you're one of our customers, we have a customer group that you can join. I mean, we have a sacred space every week. And we were talking about this yesterday in the sacred space about a crystal grid. So in the furthest four corners of your house, you want to put 4 gemstones to kind of, cleanse the gemstones and everything. And then that creates like a protective crystal grid. At my house, we have quartz points. And generally that's the easiest one to use because it's going to protect and it's going to amplify positive energy as well. Here at the shop, we have selenite that's charged during the full moon because I really wanted that divine moon lunar connection for the energy here at the shop, but it's also protective as well and cleansing. And then we also have like, if you want like really like real protective energy, then any kind of black stone will work too. But you just put those at the 4 corners of your property or your home or your sacred space, and it'll help cleanse, and create that crystal grid as well. Clove is good to keep the evil and negative energy away. Clove is good. I usually do a few drops in my diffuser as well. Yeah. Okay. So that is cleaning house. So cleaning house, cleansing house. and ways that you can incorporate some different things to turn your regular routine of cleaning into a witchy self-care routine. So I've got one last little section and then we're done for today. So a night ritual. Now, if you shower at night, you can use some of the things from, the first one, the shower one, and, apply them at night. But for me, it's a difference. There is a difference because I shower in the mornings. So you definitely, if you want to do either oils or herbs, you want to have things burning or a spray, lavender and chamomile are the easiest ones for cleansing or for calming. And then someone had mentioned our Dreamland Mist earlier. Yeah, our Dreamland Mist contains lavender, chamomile, orange, and rose. And I add the orange and rose in there because they really kind of come together for happiness. So you have like a really content, happy, calm feeling. And that's why that's been added to our Dreamland Mist. So you can spray your bed down or burn, essential oils of lavender and chamomile in your room when you're starting to, go to bed and you start your nighttime ritual. And I do recommend everyone has a nighttime ritual because mentally, especially if you suffer from insomnia or you can't get to sleep, mentally having a routine and starting a routine that you carry through the whole night kind of jumpstart your brain into, okay, at the end of this, we're going to be sleeping. So then it becomes a thing where you can, like, once you start the routine, your body automatically starts to relax and kind of be like, okay, it's time to go to bed. That's why they say psychologically, you can, or for kids, you want to keep a nighttime routine the same for kids. It's the same thing. It's like a magical practice that even adults can use. But that's why, bath time and then, read a story and everything, because it clues the kids in that this is what's supposed to be happening and the end result is sleep. You can do the same thing for you as an adult. Okay. I will throw up the customer site and stuff like that. So Whitney says, I added lavender oil to my nightly face cream, gives a wonderful smell and it's antibacterial. That leads into the next thing. That's a great segue because the next thing that I have is use full moon charged water to splash onto your face. So if you go ahead and you make full moon water using distilled water or purified water, and you set it out under the full moon and you charge it, then splashing that on your face can help you infuse the nighttime energy into your routine. So if you wanted to, add a few drops of essential oil to that, that's definitely a great practice. But yeah, using full moon charged water to rinse your face, wash your face, even putting it on a little cotton ball and helping cleanse. That's going to get you that lunar energy, that calm energy, to kind of, to help you make the transition into night. So that is that's a great practice to start. That definitely adds that witchy energy to your nighttime routine. Candles are another thing, especially lavender chamomile candles. When you go to start your nighttime routine, you can light the candles. Definitely extinguish before you actually get into bed. Because I don't know, for me, sometimes the minute I get into bed, like that's it, I'm out. So I don't want to have to worry about having to blow out a candle. So really do candle magic. If you're doing any kind of candle magic before bed, do it at the beginning of your night ritual, then extinguish the candles and then get into bed. Can you mix moon water and rose water? You can. Yep. Or you can make your rose water under the full moon, and then it'll be full moon rose water. Does it change the energy? It doesn't. Maria says hi. Hello. So you can also, if you want to light, lavender, chamomile, Dreamtime candles, type candles for calming. You can also light a candle for your patron, goddess, or god to show appreciation and honor. And that's a way like to show appreciation and honor them for the day that you had, for any kind of divine guidance that you receive throughout the day, anything like that. So that's a great thing to do at night. And then, you know, continue with your nighttime routine and extinguish the candles before you get into bed. Some gemstones that can be incorporated into your nighttime routine are going to be amethyst, which is good for sleep and dreaming. Hematite and black stones are all calming and grounding. So anything that resonates with that root chakra will help, you know, get your energy back to you so you can ground and go to sleep, hopefully a lot easier. Another nighttime practice or morning practice is journaling. Just kind of get all of your thoughts out, especially if you're one of those people that wakes up in the middle of the night and then your brain kicks in and then you can't get back to sleep because you start thinking about anything. Anything is possible. You could think about how you fell asleep during the last 5 minutes of your show and you're like, I need to see the last 5 minutes of that show. Like anything that your brain kind of kicks in for. So if you journal before you go to bed, it's a really great way to just kind of get all of that out and calm your brain before you go to bed. And then the last possible thing that I try and do before I fall asleep is gratitude magic. So you want to name things that you are grateful for that happened during that day. And this was, I've told the story a few times. I suffered from depression for years, and gratitude magic is actually what brought me out of it and what started the transition for me. Because it actually, if the last thing you think about is something that you are grateful for, it actually helps rewire your brain to start focusing on the positive. It also, there's that saying that, you know, where your attention goes, your energy flows. So, or the law of attraction. So if you're sitting around and you're only worrying about money issues, then you're only going to have money issues. So if the last thing that you think about at night is something positive and it's something that happened that day that you are grateful for, then the next day you might have two things. Or the next day you'll have double that. Your brain starts to rewire itself to pick up on the positives throughout your day so that you can go, you know what, tonight when I lay in bed, I'm gonna be thankful for this. And it just sends out a really positive message to the universe and to, you know, your higher self and your divine entities that you're positive, you are grateful for what you have, and you welcome more of that you are grateful for. So you are open to having more things to be grateful for the next day. So that's the last, and it might be the most powerful, in my opinion, witchy practice that you can do for yourself that's going to help with witchy self-care is definitely gratitude magic. And me personally, I am living proof that gratitude magic, it changed my life. When I first, the only thing I wasn't eating at the time, I'll tell the story really quick for those who have never heard it before, just because when I would get really depressed, my whole system would just kind of shut down. And so I remember laying in bed that night and I was crying because I was always crying. And I had eaten a cheeseburger that day. And so that was what I was thankful for. And that's the only thing I could see that I was grateful for was the cheeseburger. And so the next day I had eaten a cheeseburger again. And so I went to bed and I was like, well, I'm grateful for another cheeseburger. And then I remembered that my son had said something really funny. And so I was grateful for that. And every day that I went to bed, it just kind of multiplied and I was able to see more things to be grateful for. Because especially if you have depression, you have those blinders on and amazing things can be happening, but you can't see them. So that was how I started to rewire my brain. And then during the day, I would see things and I would appreciate them during the day, which in turn energetically sends out that to where you have more of that come into your life because you're seeing it now and you're appreciating it and you're expressing your gratitude for it. So it ends up being this snowball effect that's amazing. Because now I'm that person, my family laughs at me all the time because I'll say I'm grateful like for the dumbest little things. And I'm like, I'm grateful that this light was red because I got to look over there and see a puppy. I don't know, like I come up sometimes with just the craziest things and I'm like, I'm really grateful that that happened. And yeah, my family's like, okay, she's lost it again. And I'm like, no, because I can appreciate and I can see even the smallest things. And I get super emotional about it too. So if like kind of gratitude magic has changed my life and it's something that I cannot preach enough about, expressing your gratitude and so it even like if we have an order comes in, my phone goes cha-ching and I'm always like, thank you. I don't know who it was, but thank you for your order. So yeah, that's probably the biggest thing. And I'm really glad that I was able to kind of end on that today. Because gratitude magic for me changed my life. And it's something you can practice morning, noon, and night. You can put it into any part of your regular routine. You can make a big deal. You can have an entire ritual that is just dedicated to gratitude magic and things you're thankful for and people that you're thankful for and situations that you're thankful for. So it can be something you incorporate into daily life or you can make it its own thing and really, put a lot of your energy into that so that that's what you're kind of getting back. Danielle says gratitude work has helped change her life. Amber says, I saw a dog in the car the other day. I was waving to it and the owner looked at me like I was crazy. That's me too. That's my daughter. My daughter will see a dog in like a car going by and she's like, puppy, and she'll roll down the window. So yeah, we're those cheesy people too. I love it. So yeah, there you go. Ways to add witchy self-care, really into your own, whatever your self-care routine already is. These are different little witchy things. And I think, because I remembered it after I did my notes this morning, divination, a lot of people will pull a card in the morning with their morning cup of coffee or whatever. They'll kind of pull a card to see what energies the day holds. You can do it at night as well. Any type of lessons that you needed to learn or any information that maybe went unseen for the day. So if you pull a card, oracle card, tarot card, or, any kind of reading, things like that, a lot of people do that. That's a great, really easy way to add something witchy into your regular routine. So yeah, I realized as I was going through my notes, I was like, I didn't write that down and I need to say it. But yeah, and I'm even sure I ended up having a dream about this Facebook Live last night. And I feel like my brain's going to keep going with witchy self-care stuff. And so we may end up seeing another witchy self-care live in the future, because I'm sure that this was not everything that I do or have in my brain when it comes to witchy self-care. So yeah, I see all the thank yous over here. Thank you for joining me today. And I'm grateful for the ability to check in to these little moments and fellow witches and like-minded people. That is great. That is beautiful. I wanted to read that one out loud because that is beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, so if you are one of our customers, but you're not a member of the group, On our Facebook page, you'll see a link that there is a group attached to this Facebook page. And it's called, I think years ago, I named it like VIP customers. But that's where a lot of us come together, share. We've been sharing funny stuff in there to, help keep us through. We share all kinds of stuff. And I do have a sacred space once a week that we hold for them. The group is completely free to join. You do have to be a customer of ours though. So there are 3 little questions that you have to answer in order for us to verify that you are a customer. And then you can come in. I do have a text message system also set up that you can join, where I send out just little positive affirmations or inspirations here and there. So this is all through the group. Oh, my mom says, thank you for choosing me to be your mom. Thank you for being my mom. My husband just went. I tell my daughter that all the time though, too. Thank you for choosing me to be your mom. That's what I tell her. And my son, but he's a boy, so he's like, yay. So thank you all for joining me today. I'm just under the hour mark, so I'm going to go. It's Friday evening. Definitely, if you're watching the replay, pop up replay so I know who's watching. If there are any type of topics or anything you would like to see more of, you can write it on the page, or if you're in the group, you can let me know in the group, because I take inspiration from you all. Kind of your comments and everything help me plan like the next weeks. And I will be here every Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific to do Facebook Lives here. And if you're not a member of the group, then head over there and join, answer the 3 questions, and I will see you all there. Thank you all so much for joining me today, and I hope that this was really helpful for you. You all have a great evening. Mwah!